please hit the like button and subscribe, and go for the notifications as well. Good evening everyone, welcome back. Well, we're on our home ground tonight. It's been another very bright, still day, but my neighbour, the farmer's told me there's still a few foxes hanging around, so I'm just going to check out a few of the fields around here. We're down near the village, so we've got to be a bit careful with our backstops and lines, so we're going to try, you can see in there behind me, there's a nice dip down to the bank there. We can stay nice and silhouetted up here on the top. But I think more than anything we'll have a scope around with the thermal, get the lay of the land, see what's out down here, and be prepared to move around a bit. That's a beef farm predominantly, so I want to keep an eye on the rabbit numbers. They've been quite low for the last 4 or 5 years, but 5 years before that they were in huge numbers and caused a lot of damage to the stone walls, and they were starting to dig up big areas in the meadows and the fields here, and that was causing issues with the cattle, so we'll keep an eye on them. Now the other thing I wanted to try was, as you may have heard me say, since I got the Hick Micro, we've been struggling quite a bit with glare from the IR torch onto the moderator, which not only reflects back into the aperture of the scope, meaning that it washes out the bottom half, but even on zoom I think that reflection back is kind of tricking the sensor, and it's underexposing then the area that isn't getting the glare, and consequently that torch is only reaching 150-200 yards, and it should do a lot more than that. It's the Eclipse 1000 by Nightmaster. So anyway, before I've spent huge amounts of money on raising the scope up, changing the scope, changing the moderator, I'm going to try one more thing. So had a look on Black Rifle site, and they've got a Picatinny attachment that fits on the rifle sling top attachment, and I've dry tested it at home, and it positions the lamp nicely underneath the moderator and without pushing it too far forwards. The actual front element of the torch is now beyond the back of the mod, so we shouldn't get the reflection. So we'll set up in a minute, let you have a look over it, and then we'll sit quietly, have a scope around, and when it gets dark we'll fire it up and see if it solved the problem or not. Cool, right, I'll get set up, join you in a minute. Alright, so we'll just get the rifle out now. So there's no bolting at the moment. So this is the piece here from Black Rifle. It's a really nice, well machined aluminium piece. You can see it just fits right onto the front clip for the sling, and this is the moderator, the Wildcat. Good, right, we'll tighten that up properly in a moment. I think, as you can see, the line from the scope down to the mod, and with the torches mounted, and I've tried it up on top, out to the side, all sorts of different variations, but off the scope there it was just reflecting off the back of the moderator. We've tried the non-reflective camo tape on there, which reduced it a bit but hasn't really solved the problem. So I'm going to see if mounting the IR torch underneath is going to bypass that issue and see if it's a fix. So we'll get the scope, we'll leave the bolt out for the minute, but we'll get the scope up onto the tripod, and then we'll try test mounting the torch, see how that balances, and then as it gets dark we can give it a live test. Anyway, let's see how we get on. Right, so we've got the clips, that's the 800 with the IR pill in it, and we've got it on the Nightmaster mount, which is great if you just loosen it off ever so fractionally. Got that slight gimbal so you can move it well into place. So let's get this one attached. I'm going to put it on and come back to you because I think I'm going to struggle to do this one-handed carefully. Anyway, I'll pop it on, then we can have a look. Okay, so we've got that torch mounted underneath now on the Black Rifle Picatinny mount there. I've tried to bring this up so it's level with, roughly with the barrel, rather than with the front of the stock there. But it's quite easy to adjust, so we can play around with that if that causes an issue. As you can see, as we come parallel with it, without massively overextending it, we've managed to get the torch front is now in front of the back of the mod. So we'll see if that's enough to stop that reflection coming back up into the front element of the scope and causing those issues. Works pretty well, I think, with a tripod mount. How it'd work on bipods, we'd have to give that a bit of thought, but then again, if we had a bipod mount on the Picatinny at the front there, we'd probably have some more options to mount the torch. But looking at it from a ergonomic point of view, it's a fairly straightforward reach forward to activate the torch, and because it's attached to the stock of the gun and not going anywhere near the barrels, it shouldn't in any way interfere with the ballistics of the gun. So I'll sit and wait for it to go dark and see if my cunning plan is a cunning plan or 70 quid I will never see again. But having said that, service from Black Rifle was superb. I think I ordered it on Saturday and it arrived Tuesday morning today. Good instructions, well made, good quality piece of kit, fitted straight on, not fiddly in the slightest, and the Nightforce torch mount went straight onto it. It feels pretty robust, so hopefully we're not going to have anything drop off in the mud in the middle of the dark. And it's just a slightly different solution to this niggling problem I've been having, so I'm really hopeful, which is probably the death knell. But we'll settle down quietly now. It's coming up about 5:30, so I've got about another hour till the sun sets. Now we know that the foxes on this bit of ground traditionally have responded well to the cooler, and over the years we know we've had big earth down here, couple up that side, and then 1 or 2 up the bank there. So we'll see if anything's taken those over this year. Being very wet winter, as we all know, so I haven't spent a lot of time down on this ground. So again, like the last trip out, this is a bit of a recce, bit of an excuse to try the new toy, but more importantly, just a damn good excuse to be out in the fresh air on a fantastic spring evening. So I'll stop wittering on I'll get set up. Hopefully you'll stick around with me, and I'll come back to you either if we see something or when it's dark, and we'll get this new lamp tested out. Cool, thank you very much. Well, bugger me pretty much straight away. Just got the bolt in the gun, got that set up, and this fox came straight down the far side of the field. It's pretty much still daylight, so he made us straight away. I was stood there by the truck, nowhere to hide. Got the thermal on him, and he took a look at us and turned tail and made his way back up the field. There was never going to be a shot there. We've got farmer working in the field behind, but yeah, first one in. That's definitely worth noting for future, coming in from that top corner. Now, about an hour later, sun just about gone down. We had this little vixen come across. The light was a bit lower now, as you can see the scope. Still on the low light day setting. She tucked in, gave her a quick shout. She looked back and dropped her on the spot. Well, that didn't take long. That first fox came in. Came right across the field. I think it took a look at me and started cutting across, so I just a couple of squeaks with the caller and it just held up. Managed to get the rifle on him. Just started making its way down to this little brook. Looked like it was heading down to the lambing field, so gave him a quick shout. And managed to drop him where he stood. Right, so what have we got here? Yeah, little vixen. Good to get her out of the way. Right. Let's go back and see if there are any more coming out to play. And there were. We saw this one up the top of the field. Tried a few squeaks on this one, but couldn't get it to turn. And there's one came down the inside of the hedge on the far field. Probably came within about 30 yards of us, but no safe shot. And up over the hedge and gone. So we're clearly looking at some numbers down here. We saw at least 3 or 4 just in these two small fields. And this other one making away right up the top of the field there. Thought it might come in at one point, but turned and went into the cover at the top. So I think it's well worth a revisit. So now let's get this torch tested. It's full dark now. And on she goes. That's so much better. Very, very pleased with that. I can adjust the positioning of the torch a little bit, but straight away that's, pardon the pun, night and day difference. Straight away giving us that light coverage. It's not interfering. None of that glare coming back in. By crikey, I think we've cracked it. Well, there we go. Very, very happy with that. Well, it had turned really cold by this point. It's about 2 degrees. Too cold for me. Good result. 1 fox down. Scope torch sorted. Time to pack up and go home for a nice hot drink. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks very much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. It kind of makes me feel like it's all worthwhile. And hopefully we'll be out again at the weekend. Into March now. Work parties are starting soon. So a lot of work to do getting ready for this year's shoot. We've got a few squirrels to sort out, and by the looks of things we'll have quite a few evenings through the spring and into the summer on these foxes. So thanks very much for watching, and see you next time on our year in the woods.